What's up, guys? Puckett and Shockwave back. We're doing some more pool play discussions. This time we're talking Pool B. And Shockwave, let's just do a quick rundown here. We're getting in depth today. Starting it off in Pool B, we got Instinct. They're your Columbus champions. They only dropped one game on their way to winning that tournament. They're joined by 7th-seeded Final Boss. This, of course, is Victory X and Fear Itself. They keep Tots, and they add Cloud to their lineup for this event. They're also going to be joined by 10th-seeded Active Rush. Now, Active Rush, if you don't know them, that's Frosty, Sneaky Beaver, his brother, Aries, and Batman will be joining this squad. And then finally, in our top 16, once again, is Ghost Ayami. He's going to be bringing his Carbon lineup. That's made up of Mimic, Robbie B, and Soldier 187. And Chris, we got to start at the bottom here with our 15th-seeded team. It's Carbon. They're back at the event using your 2006 National Championship name. What do you think of this lineup?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to see Carbon back in the top 16. It always, brings some warmth to my heart. But I love the lineup they're actually going with. Right now, it's full of bold veteran players. You've got Ghost Ayami, who's been one of the top players in the league for a long time. Mimic, who I believe is one of the most underrated players ever. The kid has been so unlucky with his team changes. I almost want to make a video about Mimic and his unlucky team changes. But anyway, you add on Soldier 187, another veteran. And then finally, you've got Robbie B from Warriors, another great player. And from a top team, he got 5th in our Dallas event. He knows what it takes to be at the top. But I just love the fact that this team is going to be a collection of veteran players. They're going to keep their cools throughout the entire tournament. And I'm really expecting to see them upset a few of the teams.
Now, I don't want to stop there. I want to get in depth on this. Carbon's back. You mentioned Mimic is one of the unluckiest players of all time. We both feel terrible for him every time we get to an event. Something bad happened and he didn't finish high. But is this team legit? Are they a real threat to any of the other squads in this pool?
Well, they're definitely a threat. I wouldn't go as far to say that they're going to beat any of the other teams in this pool. I definitely think they have a good shot about the team above them, Active Rush at the 10th seed. But I don't think they'll be taking the pool, especially from a dominant team like Instinct or an all-star team like Final Boss. But I do think they can give them a run for their money.
All right, well, let's move on now to our 10th-seeded team. It's Active Rush for this event. They've dropped Ice Vein, and they pick up Batman, who left the Carbon lineup. What do you expect to see out of our 10th seed?
Well, Active Rush is a really good team. Definitely one of the most underrated teams we have here in the pro circuit. I love the makeup of this team, but the player I'm going to be looking out for is Aries. The kid went huge in Columbus, and he's definitely the catalyst. If they want to do well, Aries needs to be on fire, and the rest of the team has got to be following suit.
And what do you expect to see out of Batman? It's his first time with this new lineup. Is he going to be that missing link that these guys need to break into the top 8?
Very possible. I love the way Batman plays. He definitely plays as if he was a glue player. He's not going to be a main slayer. He's not going to come onto your team and demand power weapons or anything like that. And actually, I got to be able to play with him on Reach a few days ago. And I was incredibly impressed just playing with him online. His communication is top-notch.
Sounds good to me. Well, let's move on to our 7th-seeded team. Now, remember, these guys were the 2010 national champions. That was back when they had Pistola and Ogre 2 on the lineup. Now they have Tots and Cloud on this lineup coming into Anaheim. Let's talk, Chris. Final Boss. Are they a legit threat? What do you think of their new lineup?
Well, they got 5th place in Columbus with what most considered were the leftovers from the God Squad, the Instinct team. But I think they're definitely a legitimate threat to be able to take this tournament. The only real change they made was dropping Ninja and picking up Cloud. But I don't think people understand how good Cloud is in Halo Reach. Ninja, obviously a raw talent. The kid's amazing. But you're bringing in Cloud, an MVP from a bunch of the Halo 3 events. I mean, this guy's been one of the top players now for a year and a half. And I love just the makeup of the squad. Victory X showed what he could do at Columbus. My only concern is going to have to be Tots. The kid has to learn how to go positive. I hate to call you out, bud, like this, but if your team wants to win, it's on you.
Well, I do have to say, when I was watching Tots on the main stage, I was impressed. How he performed off the main stage, can't really say, but in the end, his numbers weren't great, but I think he hit a key point there. Cloud was a season MVP. Not just an MVP for an event, which he's won multiple awards for, but a season MVP. I think bringing him to this Final Boss lineup, if you give him and Fear Itself snipers while you have Victor X doing all the flanking, I think this is a team that could play at top-notch caliber Halo, but I think they need to put in a bit more practice than what we've seen up to this point. So FB guys, get your games in. It's time to move on to our top team, though. It's Instinct and Chris. We can't say enough about this squad.
Yeah, we saw Instinct absolutely dominate at Columbus, posting an overall 21-1 record. Obviously, we can keep just talking about how great they are. When I look at this team, I'm going to think about the way you can beat this team. I believe that Pool B, they have a shot. A lot of these teams have a shot of beating Instinct, but it's going to come down to the mindset. Instinct, the way they play, is so difficult to beat because they're all positive, their communication's on point, and they're sporting Roy and Pistola, in my mind, the two best players in the game right now.
We're picking Instinct to win, okay? So are you. But let's talk about the ways that Final Boss, Active Rush, or Carbon could take down this lineup here in Pool B. What are the keys to success for these other teams?
Well, I think the first key to success about going against a team like Instinct is you're going to have to take game one against them. The biggest thing about Instinct is as soon as they get on a roll, they're not going to lose. And the best way for you to stop their momentum is to pick up that first key game. My other kind of key is going to be your communication. You're going to have to be able to communicate on the same level as Instinct. We know that they probably have the best, besides status quo, they have the best communication on the circuit. They're going to be always talking, always communicating with who's a one-shot, who's got each other's back. If you want to be able to take this team down, you're going to be able to talk like that. And after taking the first game, if you stop their momentum, you're going to actually have a shot of beating this Instinct squad.
All right, well, to wrap up Pool B here, Shockwave, we got Instinct in our top spot. Give me place number 2 and place number 3 in Pool B.
Well, I think number 2 is going to have to be the 7th-seeded Final Boss squad. Like I said, I love their makeup of their new team. They got 5th in our Columbus event, and that was obviously not a fluke. I mean, they're a solid team. And then in 3rd, I'm going to go with my old team, Carbon.
Are Shockwave's predictions right? Guys, to find out, you got to watch the tournament. It's going down live July 29th through the 31st right here on MajorLeagueGaming.com.